This is Update 1, the podcast of the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. Update 1 provides a forum for listeners to learn about national and international stories, focusing on journalism and communication issues, news, and politics. Now, the latest edition of Update 1.
I'm Adam Konowe, and joining me today is American University School of Communication professor Gemma Puglisi. With her is Jolene Levesque, an AU undergraduate majoring in public relations. We're here in McKinley Hall, home of AU's School of Communication, to talk about the Public Relations Student Society of America, or PRSSA. Welcome.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you for having us.
So, Gemma, what is PRSSA, its mission, and when was it founded?
Great question. It was founded around, I think, 1967, and it was really founded to support the students and really advocate for a great academic education for them going into the field of PR, with ethics being very important and diversity in the profession.
And how long has the AU chapter been in operation, and how does it relate to the School of Communication, or SOC?
Right, great question. I've been looking at our records, and I think it was started sometime in the 1970s, and it went through kind of like a traditional period for a few years, and then it came back again. But I'm really proud of the fact that the School of Communication just celebrated its 25th anniversary last year. We're now in the 26th year, and so that means that the school felt it was very important to start our own school dealing with the field of public relations, how important it was in communicating, how vital it is in everything that we do.
So, Jolene, what drove you to get involved in PRSSA?
Yes, so when I was a second semester first year student, I got involved with PRSSA because I was a public relations major. So it was something that I knew that I wanted to continue and be involved with during my time at AU. So PRSSA presented some great opportunities. I started off in a leadership role as a finance and fundraising director, so that was really how I got my feet into it within a semester of joining PRSSA. But I just saw the value of being part of an organization that was based around what I was majoring in.
And how is the chapter organized? I presume you have an e-board and people have different roles?
Yep. So we currently have an e-board of 8 members, and we have our faculty advisor, Gemma Puglisi, who oversees, and then we also have a professional advisor as well, who is there to support us specifically with the abatement competition, which we participate in on a national level. But our e-board is made up of 8 members, including president, vice president, membership director, finance and fundraising director, student-run firm director, etc.
Okay. And how many members do you have overall, and are they all undergrads? Do you have some grad students as well?
So we right now are fluctuating between 70 and 80 members. We've had more, we've had less. It fluctuates really depending on the semester and the amount of people that are aware of PRSSA and want to join. It definitely is more undergrad based, but graduate students are allowed to join, and we do have some specifically that are online students that are majoring in public communication as a master's student, or just students here who are taking classes as master's students who also participate in PRSSA, but we see mostly undergraduate students.
And what drives them to come to PRSSA? What are they looking to learn and experience?
So we market ourselves as an organization that's a pre-professional organization, an international organization that really has the benefit of allowing you to understand more about the field of public relations and see the different sectors, learn more about each of the different sectors of public relations through chapter meetings that we have where we bring different guest speakers, through different networking events that we host, etc. So the benefit to the students is really understanding PR on a more student-to-student level, but also student-to-professional, where we bring in those speakers and have those events.
And you mentioned a competition before. What was that?
Yep, so the abatement case study competition is a national competition. It happens every year on the PRSSA national side, and we participate in it every spring, and basically there's an implementation period. We are given a client. This year it's the U.S. Census Bureau. Last year it was the PRSA Diversity. They just came out with a new book, so we were promoting that. But it's a case study competition where any of the PRSSA chapters can create a team, and it's a team of 4 to 5 students that are PRSSA members, and they compete in this case study competition, and they put together a case based on the client. So this year it's the U.S. Census Bureau, so they're doing a lot of targeting at students at AU, encouraging them to take the census, doing research, hosting events to really promote the census at AU. And it's a competition, so we get based on our work compared to all the other PRSSA chapters who participate in it.
Case studies are often a part of classwork, and I know that AU has a class on PR case studies. So how is doing that different from, say, this competition for PRSSA?
So the PR case studies class is more of a class to learn it. We're working with a real life client, and we're really implementing what the client wants to see, how we can relate to the client.
Right. And I would say that in a case studies class is we also look at specific case studies. We analyze it. We look at the history, the strategy, the objectives. Did it work? Did it not work? And it's once students learn about all these great cases, like the Tylenol cases and all these other cases, it just gives them a really strong foundation of how organizations dealt with things. I'm just listening to her, and this is, now you know why I'm the lucky faculty advisor. I mean, she's extraordinary, and look, she's wearing her PRSSA t-shirt promoting that. So, they're exceptional students, and she's doing an amazing job telling you everything there is to know about us. So.
One of the other events I know that you do is something called Mocktails with PRSSA, and that involves, bringing in experts from the field. So when was that? Who did you have? What was the turnout like?
So we actually held our first, and we're hoping it becomes an annual thing every spring, our first Mocktails with PRSSA last Thursday. We basically wanted to treat it as a networking event, so we brought, as you said, different professionals from different areas of the field. We had some past PRSSA members, e-board members who are now working in the field that have graduated from AU, gone through it. And then we had experts including Jennifer Collins, who's the president and CEO of JDC Events, who was also the past PRSSA president. We had Will Rogers, who works at Neiman Marcus. We had Jenna Mosley, who was a past PRSSA president, who works as the international communications manager for the campaign for tobacco-free kids. We had Richard Strauss from Strauss Media Strategies, which is I was able to connect with him because I was an intern for him a few years ago. So he came. We had people from U Street Music Hall, the founder, Will Eastman, the VP of Crisis from Edelman. So we had a lot of great different speakers that came. We had professors that also came, and students could really talk with them, ask them questions, give them their resume. It was a great networking opportunity, whether you were a first-year student looking for a possible internship in the future or a senior.
It was incredible. I mean, the room was packed, and I feel that it's great as a faculty member to see students who are so passionate about their future and what they want to do. And so, as Jolene beautifully put, we had just different experts from different fields, from entertainment, media, event planning, crises, and then as she mentioned, we had former PRSSA students who just graduated within like the 1 year or 3 year, 5 year period, and we brought them in because we wanted students to show students how well they did the transition from being a student to getting that first real job and nabbing it, and then maybe it didn't work, but they've gone to another job, and that was important. It was great to have the experts, but it was also important to have those newly students who just graduated to show them, you calm down, you'll be fine, you'll get a great job. This is the process. This is what I did.
Well, but as a faculty advisor, it must be very satisfying for you, though, to see alumni come back, recent alumni who've gone out into the field and still feel an affiliation with AU, with SOC, and with PRSSA.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have to say I was just so moved, actually, and really proud to see students come back because they really cared. They're giving back. They didn't have to come. They're busy. They're young professionals, and they did not have to come back. And we had such a great turnout of some of these students who came back, who said, I'll come back again, Professor or Gemma, I'll come back, just let me know. And I think that's, again, very important to see that camaraderie and that community.
You mentioned the international conference and competition. What else goes on there, and how many other PRSSA chapters do you think were there? And is it in the same place every year? Does it move around?
So it does move around. I've been lucky enough to go to 3. My sophomore year it was in Boston. My junior year it was in Austin, Texas. And this past year it was in San Diego. Next year it's in Tennessee. But basically what goes on there, we have about 300 chapters internationally. PRSSA has 300 chapters, about 10,000 students. There's, I would say, probably about between 1,000 and 2,000 students that go a year. depending on where it is, just depending on the situation. But basically at the conference, it's PRSSA and PRSA, which is the parent chapter of PRSSA, have their conferences kind of intermingle, but not really. So we're able to go to some of the awesome keynote speakers that PRSA has. This past year they had Bob Woodward as a speaker. But on the PRSSA side, there's different sessions you can attend depending on what your interest is. So one of the sessions that really stuck out to me is the director of communications for Disneyland came and talked about their new Star Wars side of the park that had just opened and all the communications that went into it. But there's different speakers throughout the 3 days that we're there that we can choose to go to, whether it be, there's more than one you can attend and you choose, or there's different keynote speakers that the chapter that's hosting it, the PRSSA chapter that's hosting it, brings in. And it's a great networking opportunity for students, whether they're networking with the speakers or they're networking with other PRSSA members from different chapters. But there's a lot of chances to really learn more about PR and hear about it from different people, different industries.
And I think you would say, Jolene, that it's life-changing, right?
Yes.
It's a definitely life-changing experience because it really immerses you with the field. And you also see your competition.
Yes.
You see, with the 1,000 students that are there, you see the other students who are interested in the field, and you kind of get a feel of, okay, this person is exactly what I want to do. And it's good to see that. It's good for you to make friends and, meet new people, but it's also good to see the competition out there, I think.
Yes, I've definitely met some lifelong friends at these conferences, and you learned about how their chapters implement things differently, and definitely gotten also a lot of ideas, not only for my own individual self, but also to help improve our chapter in different ways that we can, help make ourselves more known on campus and just make PRSSA well known.
Studying PR in Washington is a little different, and teaching PR in Washington is a little different than arguably most places. So talk about the role that you think PRSSA plays in PR and the business of PR here in Washington.
Well, first of all, PRSA is an incredible organization that does provide students so much, the networking experience, the tools that they need to know, and they're very supportive. As I said, they have this conference every year, and what I also love about them is that they provide scholarships for students every single year, and those scholarships, and Jolene has been a recipient as many and other students have, and I think that's really important. I can't think of that many organizations, right? That's a professional organization in the field that really supports students. And as I said, they're a national organization, and we're lucky to be in D.C., right, Adam? I mean, there's public affairs, but there are a lot of PR firms. I mean, when I grew up in this town, I'm a native Washingtonian, I grew outside of D.C., and I went to college here. I remember that the jobs that I felt I could only were like either teaching or working for the government or maybe a law firm. I felt like there was like a limitation of what I could do. And, when I came back after living in New York for years, it was explosive. I mean, we're seeing Virginia, tech companies, we're seeing corporations like Marriott's based here now, Hilton is, Nestle's just moved back, Capital One's here. I think the opportunities for students in our field is extraordinary in this town. And Jolene will attest to it, and you know that, Adam, as well as being an adjunct here, that students, by the time they graduate, can have up to 4 internships. And that is really incredible. I mean, that's very special for students to have that opportunity.
So like you said, full disclosure, I'm on the faculty with you as an adjunct. You're a full-time professor. For you, what's in it for you to be the advisor for PRSSA? You don't have to do this. You have a full-time job teaching.
Oh, I've loved it. It's honestly, it has been such an enriching experience for me because seeing students like Jolene, start as a freshman or sophomore. I mean, she's an incredible leader, and what's great for me is to see them come back. Like, as she mentioned, we had a lot of students who were here before, former students who came back, and that's, and this as a professor, it's great, you teach, but it's great when the students come back and say how much their education meant to them and what the community meant. So I really always say I'm the lucky faculty advisor because it's really enriched my life in so many ways. So I've been very grateful for the opportunity, really.
Gemma Puglisi is Assistant Professor of Communications at American University. Jolene Levesque is an undergraduate and president of AU's PRSSA chapter. Thank you both so much.
Oh, thanks,
Thank you
Adam.
so much, Adam.
This is great. Thank you.
For Update 1, I'm Adam Konowe.
Update 1 is a production of the National Press Club's Broadcast Podcast Committee. You can comment on this podcast or any episode of Update 1 by sending an email to update1podcast, that's update the number 1 podcast @gmail.com. Thanks for listening to Update 1.